Hi, what's going on, traders? Today I'm going to do the my journal log a little bit different today. All right, so I want to test something out. I don't have, I haven't done this before. Wait a minute, I got my music way too loud. Let me turn that down. So basically, what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to, narrate my recording for my trading today, right? For this today's morning session, and I'm going to put that in my journal, right? All right, so let's just go ahead and get started. So you can see right here, I'm gonna go ahead and hit play, and this is the market open now. So we don't have to sit through all of this. I may fast forward, at some points. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call out some things that I was looking at. Also, this is completely hands off. You know what I'm saying? I just want to talk about what I'm looking at. And what you see, if you see some drawings in there, it's me annotating some things. That's what I did when I was live, right? So I kind of, just want to kind of narrate the whole, the raw video or recording of what I was trading. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into this. Now I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that we're trading, down into some pre-market support. Now keep in mind, look how far we are away from the 200, period moving average. We had a lot of buying overnight and in the pre-market, so definitely we can expect some profit taking. Now a lot of this, what I'm talking about now, is of course it's going to be brought to you by Hindsight Capital, right? So I do have the benefit in this narration of talking in hindsight, right? So I'm gonna try to keep it to where what my thoughts were at that time as best as I remember, without letting Hindsight Capital interject. All right, let me go ahead and check my recording and make sure. Okay. All right, so this is the first 3 minutes. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to see how this candle plays out. And also with this, me doing it this way, really this is helping myself as well, so I can kind of get into my little time machine and look back at to what I was doing and seeing if I was accurately, my awareness was accurate at the time. If I was saying something, like if you go back, if you're looking at something or you have a certain perspective in the moment, and then you go back and however you revisit that, you can sometimes your perspective change. So right here you can see that I'm moving my mouse around. I'm looking at that previous resistance right there, just trying to get a gauge of what the market is trying to do. There's a lot of support and resistance, or there was previous resistance, new support. And you can see we got a volume profile line. That's from a valley of the volume profile for today's session. That popped up right after I was looking at that. So that area is definitely significant. So that's gonna come into play in a few minutes here. And I want to give it away. Yeah, I want to kind of narrate it as it happens. All right. All right, so let's just, let me start talking for a minute. Let's just watch it play out, and then I'll walk us through what happens next. And we still waiting for this. We got 1 second, and that first 3 minute has closed. Now we're gonna look at this other 3 minute. Now in hindsight, I could have taken that trade. I could have bought off that level that we were looking at, where we got that pink line, and what I was looking at, that is previous resistance, significant resistance, now support. I could have got in right there in hindsight. Of course, Hindsight Capital has 100% accuracy. But I didn't place a trade. You can't really see it here. It's a little blurry. The recording is a little blurry, at least on my end. It could be, could be the monitor. I don't know. But it didn't. What I do remember is it did not trade completely back down to that line. All right, but there was an area where I could have possibly placed an order a little bit above that line. But I would have, if I would have tried to trade off that line, I would have had my order sitting right there on the line. So I wouldn't have gotten filled anyway. So we really didn't miss much there. And we got about 2 minutes before this candle closes. I don't want to skip ahead. I don't know how far it's going to skip ahead. All right, we retested that area one more time. So if I would have been aggressive there, just based off of my strategy, I believe I would have taken a scalp there if I would have been aggressive and placed the order above that area that we were looking at, that support. All right, we got about another minute to go before this candle closes. So we're kind of bouncing at that, you know, that support area. Between that and you see I have a 26.8% fib extension line sitting there, or 261.8, excuse me, percent. All right, about 20 seconds before the close of this candle. All right, we're going to pause it right here. So as you can see, at this point, I'm looking at that support area and I'm looking at that candle, how those candles, you know, formed there. So now at this point, I want to actually take the break of that previous candle that just closed, but I missed it, and let's watch and see what happened. All right, you can see right here, I start aiming up for the trade. All right, and I'm trying to place my order, but you can see I start scrambling, and so what happened right there is I'm panicking right at this point. But what happened is when I went to place the order, I didn't realize my mouse was on another monitor. So, you know, like I've stated before, this monitor is I added a new monitor to my workstation. So, you know, still, you know, trying to get kind of used to that, even though, you know, technically I've been trading on dual monitors, but I mean, it's, you know, it's still a new feel that I have to get used to. So yeah, I missed that order right there because my mouse was on the wrong screen. We could see the crosshairs on the screen here on my trade window, but my mouse was actually on, you know, my Sierra chart window. So I missed that trade, and right now I'm feeling a little revenge trading starting to set in, so I'm trying to fight that. So I'm keeping my hand off the trigger at this point. I definitely don't want to. You see, I got my mouse far away from me trying to, you know, jump into a trade right here, you know. So actually, I forgot to turn my webcam off while I was doing this, when I was recording this, and I can see myself reacting there. You can't see it because the webcam now is blocking it, but I can see it, and I was reacting to missing that trade, right? So anyway, at this point, you know, now I just gotta wait. I missed my entry because, you know, I just was not aware of what my mouse was at the moment, and I couldn't get myself in the trade. Now, in hindsight, of course, I did right click and I had my order where I wanted it to be. So I really, honestly, I could have just, it gave me my option. I right clicked and my option came up on the wrong screen. So I could have just went to that screen and placed the order there. But, you know, at the time that it happened, you know, it didn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen. So, you know, I kind of panicked. So anyway, moving on from that. So now we're just waiting at this point. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Right, so you see we have a lot of selling pressure right here, but we are still, you know, the buyers are still trying to push the market higher. We're trying to test those. We're retesting that previous high. Well, you see we got the wick here. So, you know, I'm just watching these candles at this point. At this point, I'm still kind of, you know, trying to fight revenge trading and, you know, trying to, you know, get myself back together and get back focused, you know, what I'm trying to do. But I still don't have a signal to go in on this trade yet. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. Now, if we look right there at 420, that did form a pivot there, or that it can serve as as new support, previous resistance. So that is something I don't believe I was looking at that at the time. I believe at this time I was just watching, and my area that I would have liked to gotten in at, well, I can't remember exactly what I was remembering at that time, but or what I was looking at that time, but 400 more than likely was where I was looking for a possible dip buy. All right, so at this point, I'm just hands off of the mouse, hands off of everything. You know, I think I'm still kind of feeling that miss, wishing I would have got on this, wishing I would have taken that trade, because this would have been a nice play for me. It wouldn't have happened as smoothly as I would have liked it to, but I don't think I would have got stopped out for a break even, depending on how I've got filled, of course. But you usually don't have that much slippage with futures. But where I would have entered the trade, this would have been a nice play for me. Actually, I believe I would have hit target. My default strategy is a 3-to-1, so definitely I would have hit target. Yeah, I definitely would have hit target, and that would have been a really nice trade for me. But we missed it, so we got to move on. Let me fast forward a little bit, because at this point we're just watching, and I'm watching that new pink line come in. Again, that's from the volume profile. That's a valley. And if you are interested, if you're watching this and you're interested in knowing how I have my volume profile set up, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I will make a video about how I have my volume profile set up. So at any time, if you see me doing something, if I'm live, just go ahead and ask me right there in the chart. Ask me right there in the chat, or leave a comment if you're watching it after the fact. Or if you're watching something and you see me mention something, or you see me doing something on my something I have set up, or whatever questions you have, I don't mind sharing. This is what I'm making my YouTube video for, to share my journey and what I'm learning and what I'm seeing. And I don't mind sharing my setups for whatever it is. So with all that being said, whatever you would like to know more about, just leave a comment in the comment section below. And at the same time, while you're while you're doing that, if it's your first time, watching my channel, watching my videos, and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, feel free to do that, and also hit the like button. I will appreciate it so much. All right, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit, and then I got that cheap plug out the way. All right, so now we got some selling, some sell-off happening, a possible setup for a dip. Now with the price action, I think I'm gonna, you'll start seeing me lining up here soon. I'm looking at 420 or 422 as a way of an entry. But I actually see a lot of different entries to get in at, a lot of places to buy the dip. And looking at the price action, I'm not very confident in it. I believe at some point I did place a trade, not a trade, but an order somewhere in here. But at this point, I'm just looking. As you can see over on my Ninja Trader chart, I got the crosshairs set up at 422. Just watching that. Now I could have taken that trade. I believe that would have been an aggressive trade. I don't like taking a trade when we're extended like this. I like to get some significant pullback. That's just a personal preference. But I could have taken it there. I was watching that area, but for me personally, I felt like that was too aggressive. But just looking at it in hindsight, of course, and I saw it at the time, that would have ended up in a scalp for me. All right, so it looks like, oh, I'm just removing one of my drawings here. I guess I placed the line in NinjaTrader 8. I missed that part, but I'm removing it there. I guess I had a line drawn right there at that 422 once I realized I missed that trade. And also later on, we can see that pink line formed there, but I believe that was after the fact. I was looking at the NT8 trade, so at the NT8 chart. So I didn't see when that our volume profile line showed up. And one thing that I noticed in today's session is, these lines do move around. So if you're looking at the volume profiles in hindsight, you have to keep that in mind. Like when you're coming up with your strategies and you're seeing how well your strategy would have worked after the market is closed, you're doing some post-market kind of what I call chart trading, where you're going back and you're looking at the chart, and you're looking at the the historical or the candlesticks based off the historical price action. Also what I call price structure. When you're looking at those indicators, when the market is live, they may not necessarily be in the same place as they are when you're looking at it, after the fact. So that's just a little something to keep in mind. That's one thing that I noticed today while I was trading and looking at the volume profiles. Alright, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit. And sometimes I may do something here. Like you may see me moving you may see the crosshairs moving. And I'm moving my mouse around on the other screen. Sometimes I look at the 10-minute chart on my other monitor as well. Also, I'm looking at I have gold GC sitting over there. I have gold. What I'm trying to say, I have gold on a chart on my other monitor as well as ES. So if you see me moving if you see this, stuff moving around like just randomly, that's probably what I'm looking at. All right, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit, and I'll explain everything afterwards. Cause right now I'm just sitting and watching. Um, and I'm making some notes. So at some points I do. Let's go back. So you'll also see me in this this replay. I make some notes. You'll see me journaling some notes. And there's a candle at this point. You'll see the notes. Why I wanted to replay one of the candles. I was gonna do it, but then I remembered that I'm actually screen recording, so I didn't want to mess up the recording because I wanted to see how I wanted actually I wanted to look at that volume profile that I mentioned before. I wanted to see exactly when it popped up and how it formed, because as you can see, when I had my mouse sitting there, that volume profile wasn't there, and around this point, that's when I realized the volume profile was sitting right at the place that I could have placed an order to buy the dip. And at this point right here, I'm just taking a screenshot. I believe I'm doing this on the other monitor. Yeah, I gotta be, because I got Notion set up. And with that being said, also today, a few hours ago, I uploaded my review on Notion. So if you in this template, so if you want this journal template, you can go ahead and download that for free. I explain how to do all of that, and as well as you can get Notion as well if you're interested in it. I explain all of that in the video, so I'll probably put a card up here. I'll probably link the video in this video somewhere, and leave the link to the video below in the description. Note to self, gotta remember to do that. Alright, so you can see that's what I was looking at, and I put a screenshot, and you can see that in the journal as well, today's journal, as well as other screenshots and notes that I was looking at today. Alright, so we're gonna fast forward. At this point, I'm definitely just watching. Not really feeling the price action, in terms of taking a trade yet. I'm still bullish, but keeping in mind, how extended we are from the overnight, buy up. All right, so at this point, I am looking at a lot of different areas that I could have bought the dip, but because of the price action, I didn't have a lot of belief in it. I didn't actually, somewhere in here I placed a trade. Let me go back to that. All right, I placed the order. Yep, so I'm skipping around too much. All right, we're gonna go back, we're gonna talk about that one, and then we'll fast forward. All right, so we're looking at the NinjaTrader 8 chart. Right now, I'm looking at taking a trade long. I'm looking to buy off the sellout into some at a support level. So I'm trying to find a spot here. The price action that I'm looking at is pretty wild, so I can't, I don't see anything significantly clear where I would like to buy, but I do like this area right here. So I'm looking for somewhere to place an order. Alright, so right here, my default strategy in NinjaTrader is to go 2 contracts, but because of the price action, I'm not, I don't have a lot of faith in it. So I just went one contract just so I can, place the order, or just so I can pull the trigger. I do not want to become trigger shy, and this is um, an actual setup for me. So I went ahead and placed the order there with one contract instead of my normal two, just to just to manage the risk. All right, you can see over on my Sierra trade window, I'm just looking at the different areas where I could possibly move my have my order sitting to get in, because I'm seeing actually a lot of levels to buy in on the pullback. You can see right there before where we bounced off that pink line based on the volume profiles. So I'm seeing a lot of different areas to get in. So what I end up doing, I'm gonna wait for myself to do it. Go ahead and do it. I pulled the order back a little bit, kind of in the middle of all those of the areas where I saw the potential to get in. Remember, originally I had the order at 431.75, and I pulled it back to 426.5. All right. You're gonna see how that would have worked out. Now, we just watch it. I'm not gonna do too much explaining yet. This is one of my favorite beats, by the way. All right. Let me fast forward a little bit. Price action is moving slower than I wanted to. All right, so we're rolling over. Couple bulls got trapped up there, I'm sure. Let's keep in mind, before I had my order set, the original order that I placed was at 431 ish. We're just gonna call it 431. It's 431.5, I believe, but we're just gonna call it 431 to keep it simple. Just to keep the math simple. I'm not going to worry about the 4 ticks in between the whole number. All right, so we got down to 432 and we bounced a little bit there. And, I hate that I got my thing sitting right there. And now that was 431 and we traded right through that. Almost got to my order at 426. And missed it by a tick. So I can see myself reacting to that, you know, little upset that I missed that order by a tick. That probably would have gave me at least a scalp. Yep, I can see myself reacting to that. So went ahead and removed that order, because at this point I would have wanted that bounce, but I don't want it to come back and retest it. To me, just based off that price action, that doesn't feel, you know, that's not the price action that I want to enter a trade, right? So there's a 426. Would have hit my order at least by that time and traded right down. Let's see if we bounced at that area anywhere. Nope. See if I so it would have hit that target late, and it would have I would have had to eat all of this sell off right here. Now, based off how I have my strategy set, I would not have been stopped out yet. I would have been, you know, feeling a little pain right now inside of the trade, and trying to thinking I probably should go ahead and take the small loss, because I do not like the price action for getting in where I got in. Also, if I would have, you know, kept that 431 trade, I would have been able to take a scalp with that one. So, you know, I didn't really have a lot of, you know, I had too many options basically at that point for, you know, trying to take a trade there. So I wasn't able to benefit from any of that, you know, price action in this area right here. All right, so just looking at the price action, you know, I'm definitely off the trigger at this point. I don't think I'm looking for anywhere. I'm just looking at the areas that I could possibly get in, and I really don't like any of them. Just looking at both of my charts for NinjaTrader 8 and Sierra chart. And that's mostly due to the price action and the historical price structure. All right, so we're just going to fast forward. And at this point, I'm just, you know, writing down some, I'm taking some screenshots or annotating some things on the chart. Again, like I said, all of the screenshots and the notes that I saw will be in the journal on the website. I haven't posted it yet at the time of this recording, but by the time I finish recording this, I'll go ahead and post that on the website, mv3trader.com. Again, that is mv3trader.com under the journal section. All right, so it's got a lot of sell off at this point. Some buyers came in. For me personally, that was at a random location. Even looking at it in hindsight, you know, from the way that I trade, I didn't see a location to get in at that point. And just if you see something that you think I could have taken that I'm not calling out, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. I'm definitely open to new ideas that I don't come up with myself. All right, so at this point, that previous candle right there, which has that long bottom tail wick, I'm looking at that, and we traded right through that at this point. As you can see, I'm looking at that area there. Now, I have a hard time remembering names in general. I don't know. That's just who I. That's just how I am. So I don't remember the name of these candles, like the candle pairs and all that stuff. Some of them I do, what people call them, which will make sense in a minute. And I don't want to get ahead of myself when I'm narrating this session, this journal recording. I want to call it as it happens. But some of the stuff I actually do remember. Some of the the action, it's a little vague, and it's a little, I don't remember everything about everything that happened today in this morning's session. So that's why I'm trying to wait until it happens, and then I'll talk about it. All right, so about 7 seconds into this candle. Now looking at the Ninja Trader chart, that's the chart on the right. This is a bullish signal to me. I believe I've heard this candle called a high wave candle. Not exactly sure, but that long bottom wick with the small body. I've heard several different names, so I'm not going to try it. The name doesn't matter. It's the sentiment that actually what matters. So that's another reason why I don't spend a lot of time trying to remember the names that people call these things. It's the sentiment. So to me, the sentiment right here is we can have some buying here at this area. But personally, looking at the price action, looking to the left, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I don't believe it is going to be that strong. So I end up not taking that trade. There is a lot of resistance above that. So, at this point, and also the bigger thing is, per my rules and per my strategy, you see right now I'm marking it up with a circle. Just kind of highlighting, pointing out some things to myself. But per my rules and per my strategy, I would have had to break my rules. All right, looks like I'm going to start typing some things here. All right, so I'm gonna let myself finish typing that so we can, and this will have a screenshot with it. So like I said, you can see the screenshot in the journal on the website. So even if, well, by the time this video will be out, of course, because that's why you're looking at it, right? Duh. But this is already, the screenshot for this is already in the journal. That's the point I'm making. All right, so yeah. See, like I said right there, the last sentence that I wrote, technically no signal given per my plan. So I would have had to break my rules, and I would have had to trade outside of my strategy. And I'm taking the screenshot now. Okay, but I would have had to break out. I would have had to break my rules and trade outside of my strategy to take that, even though I did see it form per the candlesticks and and the price action per that intraday, that short-term sentiment. All right, we're gonna skip through all of that. We don't need to see all that. Okay. All right, so we traded back up into some previous resistance. If we look right there, we have a pivot sitting right on that green line. That's an area that I was talking about placing an order to go long. Towards the beginning of the today's market morning session. All right, and you see right here, I'm also annotating some things that to illustrate how far we still are from the 200 period moving average. Just to show that we still have plenty of room to go. So some sell-off in this area makes sense. But again, this for me, per my plan, per my strategy, per my rules, unfortunately, this is a no trade zone for me. And as you can see from the title of today's journal entry, this is a battle zone, and I don't like to trade in the battle zone. Now this for me, if I'm gonna stay with that, that military-like terminology, and I can't help myself because I am a veteran. So I see a lot of things from the perspective of a soldier because I was one. Well, once a soldier, always a soldier. Anyway, this would be more like of a war, all right? Because this is not something that's going to. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because what I remember, but there's a lot of room for a lot of indecision, basically for the market to get pulled in a lot of different directions, from sellers trying to take over, and the battle between the buyers and sellers, the bulls and the bears, right? So for me, this is a no trade zone. And this is why I didn't place any trades here, even though I did see some opportunities to get in. One that will, okay, I'll wait until it happens. I'm not gonna, let me talk about it as it happens. All right, just drawing out some things here, a little, that's kind of on predicting some things, just trying to see how well I'm reading the market. It's not really about reading the market. It's just some like, okay, here's what I think could happen, so let me go ahead and draw that out. So basically I'm thinking that we can roll over, bounce, and trade higher. Is at 10:30. I'm gonna go and look at the 1 minute chart because it looks like that's what happened on the micro. So let me hold on. Anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll say it. So it kind of did happen. It didn't happen as clean as I envisioned it happening in my head, but it happened on a smaller level. So I wasn't looking at the 1 minute chart at the time, but what I drew out there pretty much did happen on the 1 minute chart. So at this point, since I'm in my no trade zone, I'm just watching and learning. I have no plans to take any trades. I am looking though for places where I could possibly take a trade. I still, want to exercise that muscle, but I'm not planning to actually take any trades. And we're just going to fast forward. All right, this is me measuring it up. And so my older self, my newbie self would have been looking at that as a area to go long. A little bit of FOMO, in hindsight, but I circled that right there just to show that what kind of battle we would have had to face taking a long trade there, or taking a trade long there. So I looked left before I placed the trade. Was thinking about typing something, but I changed my mind. At this time I had decided to go ahead and do my this journal review that way. All right, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. I did add some lines on my Sierra chart. So right now what my eyes are focused on is the actual NinjaTrader chart. But as I'm trading, I'm also looking at I'm looking at both charts. All right, I'm looking at Sierra chart and NinjaTrader. This is why I wanted the dual monitor setup so that I can have both of my trade windows on one window so I can look at both. But right now while I'm reviewing this, at this current time, my eyes are on the NinjaTrader chart. All right, let me back up a little bit. So once I saw this candle right here, to me this looked like a rollover short, and I wanted so bad to take this trade, but I would have had to break my rules to do it. But just looking at the price action, you can see I was lining up right there, but I didn't take it. But I did want to take that trade, but I would have had to break my rules to do it, right? So yeah, it would have been a nice trade for me. It would have been a really nice trade for me, but I would have had to break my rules to do it. So I mean, in terms of rules and your strategy, once you get to a certain point, it does make sense to break a rule. And it's kind of a talk that I was having. On Tuesdays, I trade. I don't trade by myself. I just put it that way. I trade with a friend, so we were talking about breaking rules and stuff, and I didn't. Right here, I in hindsight, I said that would have been it would have made sense right here to break the rule because the trade looked too good, right? The setup was just too good to actually not take. So it would have made sense there. It does come a point where it does make sense to break a rule. And actually, I was watching a video. I don't know if you are familiar with, shout out to Warrior Trading, a Warrior Trader. He gets a lot of, as all of us content creators do. Even my channel being as small as it is, I get a lot of, I get more positive, and I appreciate everybody who leaves some constructive criticism, and I'm definitely open to that, or positive feedback. I definitely appreciate that, but at the same time, you can't stop the negativity. And as content creators, we do get a lot of negativity. To me, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the point is, he was also recently talking about breaking rules, right? Where it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't make sense. And once you get to a certain level, you do, there's a point that you get to where you can reasonably be able to make the discernment if you're going to break a rule or not. And for that situation right there, it would have made a lot of sense for me to break that rule. As long as, I'm aware of everything that's going on, right? So anyway, I did not take that trade. Kind of wish I did take the trade. I saw the trade, but I would have had to break the rule, and I didn't. At the time when I was looking at it, I did not want to break the rule, but it would not have been, in hindsight, it would not have been a bad idea. All right, so I'm still at, really I'm bullish at this time. I'm still looking for a place to buy to go long. I think eventually I just let it play out. I'm just gonna let it play out, and then I'll talk about it as I do it. So you see right here, I'm looking at that support. I saw a lot of support sitting down there. But I'm just gonna be, just gotta keep it real with myself. I actually talked myself out of going long right here, because I wanted it a little bit deeper than that, but this area did make sense, as you can see me drawing out, right? I would have taken one there, and I was thinking about taking an order there, but how the price reacted, it would have turned around again before it hit my my entry order. And then I drew the other line, like, okay, that would have been a better place to get in. So now at this point, I didn't place the order at the time. I didn't have the timing. I didn't place the order at the time that I wanted to. So I just decided I'm not going to take this trade. All right. And I'm just watching it now just to see how the price reacts to the support area. All right. So I'm looking at the support by the price action, or the price structure. Before 8:30, and also I'm looking at the volume profiles on the NinjaTrader chart. Like right now, I believe my primary focus is on the NinjaTrader chart, and I glance from time to time over to Sierra chart. But just since I'm primarily a price action trader, the NinjaTrader setup is a little cleaner. So I'm looking mostly at that at this point. So I would have had that order at 380. The original order. So right here, I mark it as no good because I don't like how it's trading down. And let's see, I would have gotten stopped out just because of my hard stop. All right. So that actually ended up not being a bad decision to not take that trade. Because where I would have wanted to place it at 830, I would have wanted to place it at 380, and the bounce that I would have wanted to get happened before price reached my order entry, or where I would have placed my order entry. And once it got there, it was kind of like what happened before. It traded right through it, and I would have been stopped out for a loss. So, I'm giving a lot of my secret sauce. It's really not secret, so it's not a secret at all how I trade, but I'm giving a lot of details in it without being super specific of how I like to trade. Again, if you do have any questions whatsoever or comments or constructive criticism, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Alright, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit because I got like a couple more points to make, and then I'll go ahead and wrap this one up. So right now it looks like my eyes are on the Sierra chart window. Now I would have loved for it to trade back down to the 200, moving average. If it did that, I would have taken that trade all day, every day. I take that trade all day. I either take it, at the 200, looking for the bounce, or I wait for the bounce and then I'll take it, at the break. So it didn't do that. So I'm still just, for me, technically this still is a no trade zone. I mentioned that before, how this is like a war zone. So this is why I kind of decided not to take any trades here. You see, I'm still marking up some stuff. Looking at my volume profile, valley lines. Seeing the resistance that we got to fight through to go higher, to trade higher. If I would have taken this trade, I would have wanted to take it right there at 370. As you can see, where I got the crosshairs lined up. That's where I would have wanted to take it. That would have been the ideal place to take it, but I wasn't looking at that at the time. Of course, that is hindsight capital. I'm also thinking about taking a trade here long at the break of that previous green candle. So let's imagine, so right there at 396-ish, I actually placed an order there, but then I was thinking about breaking my rule, right? This is a no trade zone for me, so I was gonna break that rule, but that was based off of, that would have been revenge trading. That was based off of me missing the dip before, so I realized that, and then I removed the trade. Now let's see if it would have been a good, what kind of decision that would have been. So was that 396? And it wasn't just about breaking a rule. I didn't like the price action. I would have wanted that to get filled a little quicker. But at the time, still, it made sense that the price action makes sense in hindsight because we are fighting against a lot of resistance at this point. Again, we are in a war zone. So we have to be aware of that. And you can see me marking up some stuff. I'm actually drawing arrows to the volume profiles. That's not to the candlesticks. It's actually to the volume profiles. All right, so if I would have kept that order there, oh, not yet. It would have got close to filling me in. All right, we're gonna try again, looks like. And I would have got filled there. I would have been in the trade. All right, at 396. And we're breaking through some resistance. So we're trying to break through some resistance. right, and I'm also drawing another line here, or another arrow, looking at the volume profile, just for, you know, future reference. Go ahead and place in a horizontal line there at the same area, just marking everything up and looking at how beautiful the price bounced off of that area. But remember, the volume profile, that happened as that candle formed, if I'm not mistaken, because it's based off of, that volume profile is based off the candles that we can see on the chart. So 396, and that would have ended up being a loser if I would have taken that trade long at 396. All right, so it would have been a small loss though. It wouldn't have been my full loss, just based off of my strategy. All right, so that ended up not being a good decision, you know, not to enter the you know, the battle zone, the war zone in that situation, right? It wouldn't have been a good decision to break my rule there. The other one would have, and it's a good thing that I taught myself out of revenge trading for that one. So now we will be just watching, and I'm watching it now. I'm watching the price action. I'm seeing what we should do from here. Technically, I believe if we were going to do anything, it should have rolled over. If we were going to keep selling, off. Got about 45 seconds in this candle here. So we start trading higher again. Now I didn't get that would not have given me a signal, you know, to go long. I didn't have any signals right there per my strategy. So I didn't miss anything, and also I didn't have any reason to break my rules. Per my rules, the only place that would have made sense to get into a trade, like I stated before. So you see, all right, I don't know what happened with my drawing tool right there. Let me go ahead and fix that. And I give that area, struggling with my drawing tool, get myself together. All right, now I officially have given that area the stamp of approval, just based off of price action and all that good stuff, and the smiley face. All right, so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there. All right, so that's gonna do it for this, review of the morning session for my journal. Like I said before, if you have any questions, comments, constructive criticism, please make it positive. If you got something negative to say, there's nothing I can do about that. Free will is something that you have. Anyway, go ahead and leave all your whatever you want to say in the comments below. All right, if you like this review, if you learned something, let me know. If this was helpful to you, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Feel free to like the video, and if you have not already done so, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys on the next one. Deuces.